this is about the new online singing and breathing programme called Wellness. So the Welsh National Opera have worked with 3 health boards to deliver this. So I just thought it'd be interesting for the group to hear about another digital offer and collaboration, really, between health and and the Welsh National Opera. So April, I'll bring you in now, and Rachel, to introduce yourselves and talk through that, if that's okay.
Fab.
Yeah,
Thank you.
great.
Thanks, Ross. So thanks everyone. Thanks so much for having us. I'm April. I'm a producer at Welsh National Opera, and I've been managing the new programme. I'm working very closely with Rachel, who I'll hand you over to.
Hi everybody, so I'm Rachel. So I'm actually the AHP lead for the long COVID rehab service based in Cardiff and Vale. So I'm here to present this, but also as a therapist. And actually our digital offer was our first offer. So we see in our service mostly everybody digitally, both in terms of one-to-one, and also we do all our groups virtually as well. So yeah, thank you. So do you want to show the slides, April, or
Yes.
do I give some more information? So I have to say I'm speaking today, but actually it was a great collaboration with another couple of health boards. So CumTAF, so Sophia was involved in it, who is the lead therapist for CumTAF long COVID service, and also Claire Jones, who is in North Wales, who is their lead therapist on their long COVID service there. So I think unfortunately they're not able to attend today. So yeah, anything else to say, April?
Fab. No, great. I'll kick things off. So I thought I'd just explain. I'll start by explaining what exactly it is. And so it's, as Ross said, a new breathing and singing programme we've put together for people specifically with long COVID living in Wales. It's a 6-week programme that takes place on Zoom, and it's designed to support symptoms such as breathlessness, anxiety, fatigue associated with long COVID. And these are all the organisations who've supported us so far. And so very deliberately delivered on Zoom to remove barriers to access, particularly, with long COVID. Our participants are suffering from fatigue, in quite severe stages. So it removes the need to have to travel to, a local community centre. It also gives us unlimited geographical reach. So the programme basically it's a 6-week programme, so 1 session per week, which lasts an hour with plenty of breaks. It allows participants to join us in a relaxed, demedicalised space where we explore some techniques that professional opera singers use in singing and performing, and that may help towards symptom management in the future. And we emphasise all participants are welcome. There's no previous singing lessons needed, no interest even in singing or music, just something new, a new approach to give it a try. And every session is led by a WNO vocal specialist, so a professional opera singer, who each week guides participants through postural techniques, breathing and singing exercises that they've cultivated over decade-long careers. So our singers are experts in breath control and diaphragmatic breathing, which is why we started this collaboration. Having had to use breath so much in performance, and I don't know if many people have been to opera in the room, but they're not always particularly short. So, there's a real need to master diaphragmatic breathing in opera. And so through the 6 weeks with participants, they share all of these strategies with participants in the hope that them will be useful. So at the start of this process, our singers had training from Rachel, Sophia and Claire, who are with us today. And we based the programme design on that. So, really applying specific exercises that will be of benefit to people with long COVID symptoms. And then using those breathing exercises through singing, using singing as a tool, has been, yes, very, very effective. I think it's been surprisingly effective in terms of almost a distraction technique, doing something proactive whilst enjoying, doing something positive has been really effective. So the aim really is for the breathing exercise and singing techniques to contribute towards improved breath control for the participants, lung function, circulation and posture in a joyful, positive environment in groups of up to 12. So there's a real social element and lots of space for chatting and peer support, and it connects participants with others facing the same challenges. After the 6 weeks with us, participants are provided with resources so they can continue symptom management in their own time. If they would like to continue meeting with us, we chose 6 weeks deliberately, so it was sort of, you know, short term enough to encourage people to continue with symptom management independently. But there are lots of arts interventions. There's lots of research in terms of parachuting in with a very short-term intervention and parachuting out. It can almost be worse than having done it at all. And so we offer a twice monthly drop-in session. Once anyone has completed their 6 weeks with us, they have the option then to continue to drop in, have a refresher of the exercises, chat and sing with us again. So Rachel, I don't know if you wanted to chat about how people are referred to us from your service.
Yeah. Is the presentation sort of stop? Is this okay? So I think I failed to mention actually. So this came about as a sort of collaborative approach with the Welsh National Opera, because actually we wanted to mirror what the English National Opera were offering to the long COVID clinics in England, which was actually access to a similar sort of program, and the access was through the clinic. So pretty much that's actually the sort of referral route that we have here currently in Wales, is that the patients actually come through our services. They're known to us as a kind of a stability in their rehabilitation. That they're actually able to undertake this. I know there's a question about Zoom there. Actually, clinically, we don't run it. April runs it, and so they've got the Zoom license. So patients, actually, we direct them with the details of the course for them to ring directly April and her team. So then April's been great and her team have been great about sort of contacting those patients, explaining what's going on to them, actually facilitating sort of access to Zoom if they're not familiar with it, doing run through sessions as well. But going back to that referral process, yeah, the patients have normally come through whatever referral pathway there is into their long COVID service, and then we know them and facilitate access through direct contact from the patient to the Welsh National Opera.
Definitely, and it was really interesting actually to listen to the discussion just before this, because we felt the same. We've introduced a one-to-one stage, so as soon as they are referred to us, we book in a one-to-one with each individual participant and our singer and myself, or Zoom host or colleague, and just 15 minutes chat through what to expect, because as we encourage singers and non-singers and musicians and non-musicians, it can be quite daunting to think that you'll be logging onto a Zoom and singing. So we try and take that worry away. We emphasise that everyone is on mute through the sessions, apart from deliberate moments to have a chat and feedback. So there's never any individual pressure on anyone to perform or sing a concert to the Zoom room. So we encourage videos on, but microphones off. They also receive a welcome pack from us as well before they start. So up till now, and apologies, I can't see the question, so please shout at me if there's anything you'd like me to stop and answer on the way through. So far we delivered a pilot phase, so we delivered 2 groups before Christmas, 2 groups in the new year, and we're now into a rolling 6-week offer with our current partners, and we will have delivered our 10th group by sort of July time, by the summer break. Through the pilot phase, we employed an independent evaluator, Milestone Tweed, to collect and analyse quantitative and qualitative data. This report will be finished imminently, actually, so I'd love to share it through this network if anyone would like to read that. So while that's almost ready, I have the headlines, so I can share it with you today. So through those pilot groups, we ran focus groups, individual interviews, we sent questionnaires, so the EQ 5D 5L, which is used by the long COVID services, also the MRC breathlessness scale to monitor change, and our own SurveyMonkey questionnaire to ask other questions around loneliness and general experience. we've had
April, can I
overwhelming.
just, sorry,
Sorry.
Gethin's got his hand up, I think.
Oh, sorry,
Oh,
Gethin.
No, it was only because when you said April, was anyone asking any questions in the chat? I think there was one from Lucy. I think some people had answered it, to be fair, from a more All Wales point of view. But
Yeah.
are you aware of sort of local community choirs then that, say, for example, in Betsy, that they could then link into after the work that you've done? I'm sorry if I've missed some of that. I might have been trying to read it.
No, I think that's, also, that's, so I'm an occupational therapist by training, and so that is actually key to us also as well. So they enjoy this program, but there's also that kind of conversation. We've had that kind of conversation that if they wish to access community choirs or go on to something similar, that is always a way to address those kind of sort of, if they found enjoyment, as the other comments have said. Yeah, we know from lots of research out there, from singing for lung health, from cancer, lots of research about the real benefits of singing across the board, from physical, emotional, psychological input and social input. So it is an extension into that kind of social prescribing and direction for lots of patients.
Definitely. And we've actually been getting inquiries, people who've heard about this programme but don't fall into the long COVID category, but have other sort of lung concerns. We've been able to signpost to other Singing for Lung Health offers, including the Betsy groups. Thank you, Rachel. So basically, so through the pilot period, all of our feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, which is great. So I've just quickly split it into two areas just to quickly blitz through. So we've had some physical health outcomes. A big one has been averting hospitalisation. So we've had great examples of a few people using the WNO exercises and avoiding emergency trips to the hospital as a result. Our most reported outcome has been improved breathing, so learning new techniques of diaphragmatic breathing. 94% of participants reported the breathing techniques being effective or very effective. Participants' understanding of their respiratory health increased during the programme, and in some cases participants reported reduced physical pain. So we've had some examples of patients being able to manage trapped nerves, joint pain, things like that.
April, sorry, just in the chat, has this program been done with children as well? Younger adults?
At the moment, we've only seen people 18 and above, but we would be open to thinking about that, definitely.
Thank you.
I think the difficulty with that is that actually, so our current services, so I think large income TAF and perhaps I'm not quite sure in North Wales, is that we're 16 plus as services, or largely slightly older. So actually we're not seeing children or young adults. So we haven't got that population to direct at the moment. That's not to say, as April said, that we wouldn't like to try it, or it can be tried. I think it's really, it is a great thing to look at.
Thank you. And Gethin, did you want to come in there, Gethin? And Sam, I think.
Yeah, it's just a really important conversation, I think, isn't it? And great to see Samantha on the chat as well. Sorry, in the meeting as well. It's just about, that's just made me think about how do we help that sort of bridging from children to early adults, and again going back to Ross's discussion about the importance of public health and prevention as well, as these people will be the future of Wales and potentially future people who attend, well, hopefully not, but will hopefully potentially be attending longer term services. So I think that would be a really exciting thing to look at. Be interested if Samantha wants to, or other people want to be a part of that conversation moving forward with yourselves, maybe as an example. But yeah, I'll stop talking. Thank you.
Yeah, please do. Thank you. And I'll pop my email and my contact number in the chat after this. So yeah, I would love to continue that conversation. That'd be fab. Thank you. So I'll just move on to the mental health outcomes that we've seen so far. So many of the participants who've come to us have been quite severely isolated by long COVID, and lots have been suffering from mental ill health. So after the 6 weeks, participants have talked about how positive they found the experience. That life affirming has been a word people have used. We've seen participants through the singing they've reported back that the singing has bypassed sort of the normal overthinking and panic that they usually experience when thinking about breath. So many felt as soon as they started singing, the worry stopped. Peer-to-peer support has been a crucial mental health benefit that has been reported back to us. So many talked about feeling less alone, especially those who had previously said they'd never talked to or met anybody else with long COVID. And what participants felt from the start is that the programme helped to reduce feelings of panic, anxiety, feelings of depression. They felt they could breathe for longer, which has increased their confidence in their own bodies. Many participants have shared that they'd been so desperate to get better that they'd sought lots of other breathing programmes globally online, some for which they paid for. And overwhelmingly of those who did try other programmes, they said that they found this programme the most helpful. And so I just wanted to share, rather than me blither on at you, thought I'd share a clip of one of our participants who was interviewed on Radio Wales Breakfast, who just finished a 6-week programme with us and is talking about how she found it. So I'll just play that now. Hopefully you can hear it.
Now, look at this story for you this morning, because opera singing is being used to help patients recover from long COVID. Welsh National Opera performers are teaching breathing and vocal techniques to help overcome the long-term effects of the virus. Michelle Roberts from the Rhondda caught COVID while working as a nurse on the wards at the Royal Glamorgan Hospital in Llantrisant in March 2020. And she is one of the first people with long COVID to benefit from the sessions.
I can walk a little bit further. Before I couldn't walk and talk, but now I can I've learned now that I was taking loads of air in but not letting it out, so I didn't have no room in my lungs. So it's made a difference there as well. And you're just made to feel so relaxed. And I can remember thinking, I don't want the first session to finish, but I can understand why it was only an hour, because we chatted after.
I'm sure they were.
There we go. And then I just also wanted to share a very, very quick case study. So I know we're tight on time. Just an example of where hospitalisation was avoided during the programme, actually. So Emily, who was aged 42, caught COVID in early 2021. Her symptoms of severe fatigue and breathlessness continued following the initial 3-week infection, where she was bedridden. She'd previously been healthy, no underlying health conditions, and in full-time work. She became severely debilitated with long COVID symptoms, unable to get out of bed due to the relentless fatigue and breathlessness. She was unable to look after herself and relies heavily on her partner for basic tasks such as showering and making meals. In late November 2021, she experienced an extremely difficult day. She felt very poorly and her oxygen levels became so low that she knew she had to call an ambulance as instructed by her doctor. While waiting for the ambulance, she started to do some of the exercises she had learned from the previous 3 sessions with Wellness with WNO. And by the time the ambulance came, her oxygen levels had returned to a manageable level, meaning she didn't need to be admitted. So this is just a quote from her. So humming averted the emergency trip to hospital. I tried the breathing exercises first when my oxygen went dangerously low at 88. Within half an hour, I tried humming and got out of the danger zone. It averted the hospital admission, and the cost of that was averted. Knowing that I could do that myself was amazing. And we've had a few reports of that, which have been quite significant, we feel. And finally, just a couple more quotes. I have lots I can share with you, but I'll keep it short and sweet. But the first just kind of details how the programme has helped improve someone's confidence to return to work. And the second just details someone who had tried lots of different courses, but this was the most practical support and the most beneficial mental health support they've had since having long COVID. So just very, very quickly, next steps, kind of where we are at the moment. We would love to offer this in all 7 health boards, basically. So we're working really hard on that at the moment. We're working with Ross and Gethin and HEIW. Thank you so much for inviting us today to spread the word, and also with discussing with various departments. Rachel, I don't know if there's anything I've missed there. That's mainly everything I have to share.
Yeah, no, I think the vision initially to start is, as I said, it was 3 health boards coming together with the same vision right at the beginning and accessing Welsh National Opera, and we can basically ask the same questions. So they said, we'll do it together, and that's kind of why we're in the picture. But our vision was that this should be open, there should be an equity of access to everybody across Wales. And there's lots of nice information in the chat about Singing for Lung Health, and it is a bit of a duplication of that, but we know that the kind of population that we're seeing, they felt they needed specific input, but it's not really specific input. It's about understanding breath control, because that's how they're presenting, largely with some patterns of breathing, dysfunctional breathing. So that's kind of what we're addressing. And as one of them, I think it's Sophia had said, is that the usual sort of exercises that are given to individuals, they can be a bit dry, but actually this is just doing therapeutic activity with some joy. Yeah, and everybody that we've ever spoken to in our services participated has just reported the fantastic sort of nature and the support of the team. I mean, they basically said, yeah, that was the most useful thing that we did for them. And you know what? I'm okay with that. If that's the most useful thing we've done for them, then that just shows and reiterates that actually rehabilitation includes, you know, some community partnerships, and that we don't as therapists have to deliver everything. I think that's the end of my soapbox.
Thanks.
No, that's great. Oh, thank you both, April and Rachel. I think it's really interesting and great, strong examples. And Rachel, as you just linked it back to the digital element and the collaboration, isn't it? It's a great example of that. So yeah, as much as we can help with that, and it helps us as well to this framework and guidance, because I think it shows a great example of what we're trying to promote. So thank you very much, and thank you for your contact details, you know, for people in the group if they want to get involved. And there's a lot of exciting opportunities here for other health boards, and as we said, children's services, looking, you know, long-term conditions. I'm just thinking out loud now. There's lots of opportunity here. So thank you very much. So really appreciate your time today as well.